welcome all of you, all candidates and fellow citizens to the League of Women Voters Macomb County Candidate Forum for the City of Eastpointe. So the races tonight are for City Council and Mayor. My name is Kathy Poor. I'm the Candidate Forum Coordinator for the League of Women Voters Macomb County. Tonight's forum is being co-sponsored by the Eastpointe Roseville Chamber of Commerce. We would like to thank Eastpointe High School for allowing us to use this auditorium and to Eastpointe High School students for filming this forum. This forum is for the city general election on Tuesday, November 5th, 2019. At this time, I would like to introduce this evening's moderator, League member Maria Rivera.
Thank you, Kathy. The League of Women Voters is a national organization whose mission is to promote political responsibility through informed and active participation of citizens in government. The League neither opposes nor supports candidates or political parties. We welcome all citizens aged 16 and over to membership. My name is Maria Rivera. I will be serving as moderator this evening. So I'd like to now, in alphabetical order, the candidates for the mayor of Eastpointe are Harvey Creech, Cardi DeMonico, Tanya Gladney, Michael Kleinfeld, and Monique Owens. As before, candidates have a 2-minute opening and 2-minute closing statement with a response time of 60 seconds per question. They too have agreed to the same forum format. Seating is once again determined by drawn lot. Okay, so we will start with a 2-minute opening statement, and by drawn lot, we will start with Ms. Owens. Ms. Owens, please.
Thank you. Some of you know me, some of you don't. My name is Monique Owens, and you all elected me in 2017 as your councilwoman. I am a wife, I'm a mother of twin daughters, and I'm also a business owner here at Eastpointe. For almost 10 years or more, I have the background experience of a Wayne County Sheriff. I have a bachelor's degree from Madonna University in criminal justice, which I graduated with 3.8. I've also graduated from one of the top police academies in Michigan as the top female shooter and top of my class. I've also experienced as a CPR instructor with AED with the Red Cross. I've also experienced as a home inspector with Macomb County Community College. Presently, I am your councilwoman. I'm also a professor at Macomb Community College, which I will be teaching Intro to Criminal Justice. Now let's go to what I have done as your councilwoman in not only 2 years. I have started a 4-H program, mentorship, inside the middle school. I helped forward the neighborhood watch. I went to 80% of the businesses at Eastpointe to help them advertise their businesses, in which they have gotten an increase in customers. I have revitalized 3 parks that have not been used in 100 years in Eastpointe with my own money. I've helped with the Eastpointe Drug Coalition to help stop the opioid epidemic, and I work with CARE to do an awareness by doing a commercial, which we work with the Eastpointe Police Department. I was also the first volunteer here at Gianna's house that knocked on the door to help young women with their kids to be successful. Choose me as your mayor of Eastpointe so we can be successful. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. We'll move on now to Mr. DeMonico.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cardi DeMonico Jr., and I'm running to be your mayor. I've been a long time homeowner and resident in the city, and I look forward to the opportunities and challenges we have, and I'm very passionate about this city. On City Council for the past 5 years, I brought forward your ideas to the table and my own. With all that together, we've done a lot. and I've listened to you as I've talked to all of you. The water bill, I know, is a big issue for everybody. I have worked to try and lower that. I haven't been successful yet, but I'm working on it, and we got a third-party study in, and I'm still working on it, and I've heard all of you. I look to have open bid processes in the city for everything that we do. I want it to be transparent, and also I'm working on lots of plans. We've done a lot of plans in the city. We've worked on the master plan, downtown development authority plan. We're doing a lot of planning so that we can do the best for the citizens of Eastpointe. I'm a software engineer on the side. That's what I do full-time at the Michigan Court of Appeals. I work on a lot of government efficiency things there. So I work full-time with the government and try to do the best with your tax dollars. Those are your tax dollars also, just like they are in Eastpointe. When we work together in the city, we'll do the best that we can. And I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters for putting this together. I'd like to thank Linda and the Chamber of Commerce for putting this together. Thank you to the Eastpointe Community Schools, Mr. Kilday, I know some of the AV here. Thank you all for coming out, and I'm glad to see such a large audience here. I'm proud to be a resident, hope I can be your mayor.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonico. Mr. Creech, your 2-minute opening statement, please.
Thank you. For the people that know me, I've been a resident in this fair city for 55 years. I have made some waves, and one thing about it, when you take on water, if you've got a boat and you're a person, you're going to make waves. A lot of people don't like me, or care for me because I do make waves. But the only thing to go forward, and that's exactly what this city has to do. One thing about it, it can't stay limber and it can't stay dead. This city, in reality, is dying. It can't go in that direction. Let's bring it back. I'm fighting for our parks. I'm fighting for everything the city has got. Don't let it die. Please, as I said before too, get to know your neighbors. Work with your neighbors. Diversity, all of this we can talk about, but we have to go ahead and do it. I work with my neighbor. Anytime somebody wants to get something going, I'm usually in the middle of it somewhere. I don't know exactly how. Sometimes I don't want to do it, and sometimes I want to be on top of it. But if you stay in the middle, in the upcoming of all the people, between even the same thing about it, I belong to a euchre club. I enjoy it. I belong to a lot of things, but we have it here. All you got to do is go out and see it. And thank you. And especially our parks, I'm fighting as hard as I can. I've started the shuffleboard. I've got the pickleball back. I'm just going to work as hard as I can to work everything. People, come out. Bring our parks back. That's exactly what I'm trying to do as hard as I can, along with our schools too. That's my next attack plan, and I'm working with the schools. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creech. And Mr. Kleinfeld, 2-minute opening statement.
Thank you very much. First of all, thank you to the League of Women Voters, the schools, and the Chamber for putting this on, and including the students. I saw them running around here earlier. If you don't already know, I've been on council for over 4 years. I've been mayor pro tem for most of that time. It's been a privilege serving the community, and I appreciate that I've been given that opportunity. This November, my term is ending, and the current mayor, Suzanne Pixley, isn't running again, and I have chosen to seek the mayoral seat, and I hope you will consider me. A little bit about myself. My day job is I work for the Wayne County Prosecutor's Office. I work in the General Trials Unit, which essentially means I try felony cases mainly involving drugs, guns, assaultive behavior, and theft. If it looks like I had a long day today, I just wrapped up a trial getting my closing before coming over here on a case where a Dollar General was robbed at knife point. So I take that work very seriously. It's very gratifying, and just something that improving the community is something that I bring to everything that I do in my day job, and it's why I'm so involved with council. A little bit about my values. I really support being transparent, being respectful, and maintaining decorum on council. And I think we'll probably get a chance to speak more on those individual issues and things I've done, but I hope you'll consider me this November when you go and cast your vote for mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kleinfeld. Ms. Gladney, 2-minute opening statement, please.
Good evening. I am glad you all have taken the time to come and allow us, candidates and myself, to share Eastpointe vision with you all. My overall leadership is through experiences, earned education in criminal justice, my working, my volunteering, and my passion and concern for Eastpointe residents, including myself. We must continue to keep Eastpointe a founding town by staying away from what has been increasing. And one of the things that has been increasing is crime, breaking into the home. For the first 10 years that I've been here, we have also seen this coming about the prostitution on the main street, as well as selling drugs. In order to remain a founding town, it's some things that we will have to take control of. And I'm very much aware of what's going on in the city because I'm walking the streets. So, please, as you go to your ballots and your absentee and you go to the polls, please keep in mind and consider Ms. Gladney. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gladney. First question will go to Mr. DeMonico. How do you feel the city can improve communication with residents?
Sure, thank you for that question. I think we can always improve communications. There is, of course, the internet that we can definitely utilize better, and I've been working on that. We'll soon enough have our council meetings live streamed on the internet. And we also do an email list, well, we used to, and I think, unfortunately with a little turnover in the city manager's office, I think we've dropped that and we'll bring that back. We also need to reach out to people via paper. We've got free choice voting coming. They're going to be doing plenty of outreach via that. We know that people hear about things differently from different things. Facebook, of course, is a big one, and we'll just try and vary our communications as much as possible and just work together. And I'd like to hear from all you too on different types of communication.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonico. Mr. Creech, how do you feel the city can improve communication with residents?
Thank you. The way I feel that the city could really communicate with the residents is listen to them. People come to the council meetings and the rest of the stuff. They have things to say. The council can't keep turning their back on the people. The people pay the taxes. The people run this city. I go to too many meetings, and I guess I'm too outspoken or the rest of the stuff. What we need to do is take the citizens and let them talk and listen to them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creech. Mr. Kleinfeld, how can we improve communication with residents?
Thank you. As previously mentioned, improving and increasing our presence on social media and online, I think, is a big way that we can improve. We do need to update our equipment at City Hall soon on our audio-visual, which will enable us to do better with that. And on top of that, when you look at a department like our police department, who has engaged in something like the Neighborhood Watch, which has gotten a ton of participation. I think initiatives like that are things we should encourage in our other departments to be more transparent and communicate more with residents. I know I talked to our administration about marketing, just because the school district has an excellent point person to market and communicate with the community, and I think when we get our economic manager, that might be something that he looks at improving as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kleinfeld. Ms. Gladney.
Thank you, everyone. One of the ways that we can increase the communication between the residents, this is an excellent way right here, a forum. Senior citizens, they're not getting out a lot for the ones that's not mobile. So maybe we can take the communication and transparency to the senior citizen buildings. Eastsiders paper is one of the things that's already in place. So keep in mind a forum to reach everybody.
Ms. Owen, 60 seconds. How do you feel the city can improve communication with residents?
Yes, thank you. A lot of people said the internet, but a lot of seniors do not know how to use the internet. And that's why I was working with the library to do free classes to help the seniors, to help them with using the internet. I know a lot of people said that's what we need, but people don't know how to use it. They're still not communicating with them. Doing door-to-door. When we started Neighborhood Watch with the police department, not only did I put some of the literature on the doors when I was canvassing, because some people still didn't know about it. As I was going door to door, people didn't even know we had Neighborhood Watch until I gave them pamphlets. So going door to door and working with different departments, that helps. Also, hiring a marketing person to work with Eastpointe, to get out there and get the information out there, and visiting the churches. There are main eyes and ears in the community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Next question, we'll go first to Mr. Creech. What are the identified strengths, assets, needs, and challenges specified during the last community assessment?
Excuse me, I know an awful lot about this city, but that question went completely over top of my head. And I apologize. I mean, I could probably answer half of it, but I will apologize. I can't answer that question.
Thank you, Mr. Creech. Mr. Kleinfeld, what are the identified strengths, assets, needs, and challenges specified during the last community assessment?
I think I know what you're referring to, actually. So, to be honest, but I know that some of our strengths are our housing affordability. Some of our challenges that our community is going to be facing going forward is the population demographic aging, in the sense that we don't have young people necessarily buying new homes and putting down roots, and we need a full community that represents the young, the old, and families of all kinds. And I know that some of the needs that have been spoken about before. We have major infrastructure needs, from streets to sewers and pipes, that we really need to work on going forward.
Thank you, Mr. Kleinfeld. Ms. Gladney, please. What are the strengths, assets, needs, and challenges specified during the last community assessment?
Well, what our strengths are right now that we do have a neighborhood watch, and mainly all the residents who know about it are participating. Some of the challenges that we are facing are the things that we're seeing now that may be declining our property value, because we have so many residents moving in and we have so many residents moving out because of what they see. Our assessments, like Mr. Kleinfeld said, the homes. Our homes we're starting to get too many vacant houses, and there should be a program in place for some of the residents that's coming over to assist on learning how to get these houses so that we don't have a huge problem than what we might be facing right now.
Thank you, Ms. Gladney. And Ms. Owens, strengths, assets, needs, and challenges specified during the last community assessment.
Thank you. I'm gonna start with strengths, which is our neighborhoods. Since I lived in Eastpointe for the last 10 years, my neighbors are amazing. We look out for each other. We always have each other's back. I got some neighbors in the audience right now, and they always help each other, babysit my kids, we babysit each other's kids. So the neighborhoods are our strengths. Our assets, again, our neighborhoods. A lot of people cross 8 Mile or move from different states to live in Eastpointe. As I was going door to door, I had a lot of people that came out of different states to move to Eastpointe, and I said, why? They said, your neighborhoods are amazing. Our needs are more businesses, which are coming to Eastpointe. More home ownership, in which I am using our tax reversion houses to put more renters into homes. And our challenges are the schools and the crime, which I've also been working on. So vote for me, Mayor Eastpointe.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Mr. DeMonico, the strengths, assets, needs, and challenges specified during the last community assessment.
Hi, everyone. Sure. So one of our strengths, for sure, is that we are in Southern Macomb County, and I think we have a chance to have a vibrant business district in a downtown area. Nowhere in Southern Macomb County is there really anywhere like that, and I think we've started that process already with refuge islands and making 9 Mile and Gratiot safer. We received a grant from the Michigan Department of Transportation to do those islands, paid very little amount for them, and then we also shortened those left turn lanes on Gratiot so that it's safer to drive also, and we dedicated that right turn lane at 9 Mile and Gratiot, going south on Gratiot. I think with all that, and if we keep that going east and west on 9 Mile there, I think we can create a friendlier business area. And then also a challenge and a strength of the city is our people in the city. We need more people on boards and commissions. Always good to get more people involved in the community. And I think with everyone's help here, we can just continue to make Eastpointe a great place to live.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonico. The next question will go first to Mr. Kleinfeld. What is your #1 goal to achieve by the end of your first year?
Well, that's a tough one because there's a lot of goals. I think the first thing that I would really want to see happen within the year is to see some success with getting our tax reversion homes sold. I know it's been talked about. It was something that I had brought to council when the proposal to sell all of our vacant properties came to us, and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. And we have gone and we've taken, with the stock that we have now, we've gone through and we've re-roofed them, and we've had our DPW pull out the shrubbery, fix them up. We're looking at what to do with the interior, because when we get these homes, they're typically in very poor condition because we're getting them from back taxes. And when we sell them to investors, they put the bare minimum into it. So we are now investing into them to improve the community, and I really want to see some residents in the first year be able to move into those properties that we have in our possession right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kleinfeld. Ms. Gladney, what is your #1 goal to achieve by the end of your first year?
The #1 goal, regardless of what happens in this city, and I don't want to be redundant, but I really need you guys to hear me, is the public safety. And to do that is decreasing the crime that we have here, along with the other things that the city of Eastpointe is known for and can benefit from. And the taxes on the water bill for the past 10 years, it's just been slowly increasing. So those will be some of the 2 main things that I believe will be important for all residents.
Thank you, Ms. Gladney. Ms. Owens, what is your #1 goal to achieve by the end of your first year?
Thank you for that. I'm gonna have to tag along with Ms. Gladney's answer. And my goal is to reduce crime and make our city safe. I know a lot of you have seen a lot of people speeding in our city, and I know you want to cut that down. I have twin daughters that are 11 years old, and I do not want them to get hit by somebody who is speeding. I have been working with the council to put speed bumps in the city to find something cost efficient that will help lower that. One way to lower that was hiring more police officers to sit in those locations where there are high speeders to start ticketing these people. So my number one goal is to reduce crime and make our city safe. And as you see, I've also already been working on that.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Mr. DeMonico, number one goal by the end of your first year.
Great, thank you. My number one goal will be to get more folks involved in the community, and specifically the biggest difference between being on city council and mayor. Of course, so our city council is 4 people and the mayor. We all have an equal vote, but the one biggest difference is our board and commission members. The mayor appoints most of those. I'm going to work to make our boards as full and diverse as possible, as quickly as possible, and just get more folks involved in the community with things that other folks have mentioned here, such as the Neighborhood Watch, or the Lions Club, or the Rotary Club, or just get their business involved in the Chamber of Commerce. Anything. Everyone's got different things that they like to do, different hobbies. I'd like to try and utilize those. We've got 2 new commissions, 2 the Arts and Cultural Diversity Commission, and brought the Parks Commission back. So just work on all that, and that's my goal for the first year.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonico. Mr. Creech, your number one goal by the first year.
Thank you. And I'm glad you asked this question, because this is the one that I've been fighting for probably for the last 3 years. My biggest goal would be coming together of the full community. I'm talking about the council, the Board of Education, the Recreation Department, fire, police. Have these meetings, people, please. Get these people all together, such as this room right here. You've got one of the best forums right now that we've had in this city, and that's what it's going to take in order to put this city back together, to get all these forums together along with the people and discuss this. And please, let's get this back together.
Thank you, Mr. Creech. Next question, first to Ms. Gladney. What are your plans as mayor to attract new businesses to the city?
One of the plans would be for the new businesses, I said when we had our last forum, is that it would be my responsibility to reach out to businesses that I believe that will be beneficial to the city of Eastpointe. Let's keep in mind, Eastpointe is a very small town, only 5.1 square miles. We're not that big at all. So the businesses that we have that come here, they have to be beneficial to us. We don't have many things going on here like maybe we used to, or maybe we could have. So I will reach out to some businesses that I truly believe that will be beneficial to this city. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gladney. Excuse me, Ms. Gladney. Sorry, Ms. Owens. What are your plans as mayor to attract new businesses to the city?
That's a good question. What are my plans, or what am I doing now? Should be the real question. Because what have I done already is I have reached out to businesses, entrepreneurs, in different parts of Metro Detroit, and they want to come to Eastpointe. They just had a hard time getting different buildings, in which we're working on our building department to get set zoning and different rules regulated in the city of Eastpointe. So we're working on that right now. So we have people that want to bring their businesses to Eastpointe. I have promoted, like I said before, and advertised the businesses, 80% of the businesses that are already here, that are already diverse, and supported them on social media, on which the increase of their customers have came from Eastpointe and all different places. Social media has been used to get and grab different people from all over. And some people have shopped at Eastpointe and don't even live in Eastpointe. That's what I have already done. So my goals for Eastpointe are already in motion. So just imagine when I become mayor, it's not going to take long for those things to happen. So elect me as your mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Mr. DeMonico, your plans to attract new businesses to the city?
Sure, yeah, my plan to attract new businesses will be multifaceted. It's not just going to be one thing that will bring new business to the city. I think we need to be a friendly, open community that will bring businesses, that will bring new residents. People just like you, when you come to City Hall, you want to be helped quickly. our businesses want to be helped quickly too, getting into the city. We were one of the first to be a redevelopment-ready community in the state of Michigan. That's through the MEDC, and that helps just businesses get through the process of doing zoning, doing their site plan, doing all that, going to the planning commission, and getting that all done. So we've done that on the administrative side. The Downtown Development Authority meetings, we've talked about how we can start a facade improvement program. We're hoping once we hire this economic development manager that we budgeted for, and once we get a new city manager, that we can put that in place and do some matching dollars for businesses to improve. Because businesses want to move where there's other businesses too. They don't want to be around a bunch of vacant buildings or buildings that maybe, haven't been as kept up as they could be. So that's part of my multifaceted approach.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonico. Mr. Creech, how do you plan to attract new business to the city?
Thank you. Just the other day, this was a situation brought to me. Through our last little turmoil that we had, and the houses going down and everything going down, we lost a lot of businesses. We need to actually give our businesses a tax break. If that's what it's going to take, we've already done that to a couple businesses. Give these people a tax break. Bring them into here. Let them see what we can do. What are we holding our feet and, let's don't back up. Let's go forward. If a person wants to come and open a business, as long as it's legal, let's help them. And the same is housing and realtors and the rest of the stuff. Let's bring the people in here and help them. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creech. And Mr. Kleinfeld, how are you going to attract new businesses to the city?
Thank you. During our budget this last session, I did make the proposal to add an economic director, which has evolved into an economic manager who will serve under the city manager. I would like to point out that we have done some rezoning, making it mixed residential, especially because we have a lot of retail space. Quite frankly, we have too much right now for the demand that's out there, and we need to take steps to address that. I also want to address or respond to something said tonight. Our responsibility as a city council and also as the mayor is to deal with policy at a high level. I think it's extremely dangerous to talk about going out, meeting with businesses, setting up deals, and then working with administration to get those through by changing zoning or regulations. It's backwards. We set the policy to invite them in. We don't bring them in and change the policy to accommodate that, and you will not see me do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kleinfeld. Next question first to Ms. Owens. What are your plans for neighborhood safety and crime?
I'm going to get to that question first, but let me tag on Mr. Kleinfeld because he was addressing to me about connecting with businesses. Yes, we do. Our job is policy, but part of our job is to go out and find businesses that want to work with our city. So when I become the mayor, you can see how I do that. And so going into that question we're talking about is how do we bring crime and safety more to our city is by the neighborhood watches that we are using. Also, using these neighborhood watches and having in different parts of the city of Eastpointe at the churches and having some type of connection with the churches, police department, and the seniors. I have visited the senior citizen buildings twice, just the last couple years. And in that, they have not met the public safety director. They have said they got their cars stolen, they don't feel safe, and things like that. I have run that intervention with the director and told him what needs to be done to make our seniors feel safe. They're still a part of this community. We want them to feel safe. We want the people, I'm sorry, you told me to stop, I apologize.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. Mr. DeMonico, your plans for neighborhood safety and crime.
Thank you. Yeah, I think like everything else, again, this is multifaceted. It's not just going to be one thing that will solve everything. I think it's been great that we've got a new director of public safety, and he's been very proactive putting the neighborhood watch together, getting all kinds of people out. We've had hundreds of people at these meetings. I'd like to see that more often. It was great to see a couple block captain meetings. Even one of our city council candidates has put one together, a couple of them actually. And we just need to keep doing that. We can always work to reduce crime. There's always room for that, and if everyone's watching out for each other, that's how we do that. It's just not gonna magically happen. We all need to just do this together. We've got a few more police officers who budgeted to help out, and that's my plan.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonico. Mr. Creech, what are your plans for neighborhood safety and crime?
Probably a few people out here already know it. There's a lot of things you can really do. And the number one is protect yourself. Don't worry about it. I said the same difference about it. Times are changing. People are changing. And I have a gun. I'm not afraid to say it. And anybody else to say it. I mean, I'm not going to tell you you have to use it. But one thing about it, you can own it. And it's a God-given right to own a gun. And the same thing about it. All you're trying to do is protect yourself, protect your neighbor, protect your neighborhood. Once you learn how to do that, believe me, it's just that simple. And the rest of the people in the city, you can help your neighbor by protecting yourself and your neighbor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creech. Mr. Kleinfeld, neighborhood safety and crime.
Thank you. I would like to point out that, as Mr. DeMonico mentioned, budgeting for a couple more police officers, we are going to have officers that are dedicated to narcotics and to auto theft now. And we'll get the benefit of teaming up with Macomb County units to get support on those things. Also, we finally have a full-time animal control officer, which is great. Something we desperately needed. I have gone to the county and I have advocated for our community because we have been forgotten here on the south end of the county, and it's not fair to us because you all pay tax dollars that goes into the pot that pays for other areas to have animal control, and that's not something I'm willing to let go. And in terms of really making a difference that'll last a long time, the neighborhood watch is so great because it's about changing the culture, where the community feels connected to our public safety and they will trust them to reach out when something happens instead of trying to take matters into their own hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kleinfeld. Ms. Gladney, what are your plans for neighborhood safety and crime?
Thank you. I must say, we must go back to the basics. And what I mean by that, 10 years ago, when I first moved here, we did not have gas stations stand open all night long, 24 hours a day, selling liquor. Number one. So one of those safety issues goes with what we have going on in this family town right now. We have too many liquor stores open all night long. So go back to the basics would be number one. And the safety issue is, I hate to say this, but I'm glad that it happened. We did not need a neighborhood watch, because one thing that's great about it is that the director is hands on deck. And what I mean by that, each and every one of you, every resident out here, if you would be kind to your neighbor and report the things that you see before a neighborhood watch came into place, we will be good.
Thank you, Ms. Gladney. Next question, we'll go first to Mr. DeMonico. Financial pressure drove Eastpointe into cooperation with neighboring cities during the last decade. As mayor, how will you assure that cooperation continues to grow as pressure recedes? I will repeat that if you want.
Nope, that's fine, thank you. That's a great question, and I believe we've done that very well since the recession happened. The city lost roughly a quarter of its revenue, essentially overnight. Then the citizens worked very hard, and the citizens passed SMORSA, and we were back on decent footing, and we've been working hard since to save costs where we can, such as getting together with Roseville and doing a rec authority. Some things just don't make sense just for the city to be alone and doing it, so things like that makes sense. We've got Ceriso, where we do dispatch with the three cities, us, Roseville, and St. Clair Shores, and now actually Frazier's even in. We do SMORSAs with us and Hazel Park. We don't actually physically help each other, but we need to do that to get that through. And I think we can continue looking at things like that. There's other authorities that we share, and we might as well and see what makes sense for the city to have, see what makes sense for an authority. And I think we can always continue looking at that as time goes on.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonico. Mr. Creech, financial pressure drove Eastpointe into cooperation with neighboring cities during the last decade. How will you assure that cooperation continues to grow as pressure recedes?
Excuse me, I'm glad that this happened, but I wish it wouldn't have. Right now, as we sit, I work with the Recreation Committee, and maybe sometimes I work against them, because sometimes as much as 4 or 5 times I'm at the Recreation Department asking them why. When you totally break this up and the city runs one part and Recreation runs the other part, and then you have the Department of Parks that is run by a outside contractor. People, this is a mess. I'm sorry, but right now we can't put it together. And I'm glad this was really brought up, because this is one of my biggest pet peeves since I won, and I'd love to be able to bring this back together. But I do understand, and I'm glad to say, economically we started because of the monies. I would like to somehow find the funds and find the monies and bring this back underneath our division, because it's getting, instead of me for saying that instead of getting better, I actually think it's really getting worse. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creech. Mr. Kleinfeld, financial pressures and cooperation with neighboring cities. How do you ensure that the cooperation continues to grow as pressure recedes?
I think that some of those combined services that we went to are really something that saved the city from being just financially ruined. And for those relationships to continue, I do think that we have to make sure that we are represented well in those relationships. I'm going to speak a little bit about RARE. I think RARE is great. However, if you don't know this, since its inception, I think it was 9 years ago that it was created, there have been 3 Roseville representatives and 2 Eastpointe representatives, and it was never supposed to be that way. It was supposed to alternate. And most of the events, a lot of events occur in Roseville, and we don't have a brick and mortar location in Eastpointe. In fact, we just sold it. So I think advocating stronger on that end is something we need to do, because if the residents don't feel the benefit of those relationships, they won't renew a millage. And we benefit if we do renew that millage. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kleinfeld. Ms. Gladney, financial pressures and cooperation with neighboring cities. What will you assure that the cooperation continues to grow as pressure recedes?
Well, the first thing I would like to say, we have a lot of division within our funds and the budget. And one of the things every time I go to a meeting is, we're in a negative, we don't have, but we're constantly resourcing out. And we have resourced out to other cities that's benefiting more than we are. So there has to be a plan in place where that whoever we reach out to, whether it's Rosenville, whether it's Frazier, that we, the city of Eastpointe, is truly benefiting. I feel as if we're drowning. I feel as if we don't really have a say-so as much as we should, because someone else city or another city seems to have a little bit more dollars that they're bringing to the table, and we're losing. So in order for us to continue on, if it's working for the city of Eastpointe and we are truly benefiting from it, and I mean dollars, yes, but if we're not, then we must make a change.
Thank you, Ms. Gladney. And Ms. Owens, the Eastpointe in cooperation with neighboring cities, how will you assure that the cooperation continues to grow as pressure recedes?
I'm glad about the SMORSA and the RARE, but like everyone at this table was talking about, that we want to make sure that Eastpointe is highlighted when we share these partnerships with people. Just for instance, with RARE, we have the senior center all the way to Roseville, when Eastpointers can't get to those the senior services. So putting a senior service or a senior place in Eastpointe will help. I don't want to partner up with someone and we get the last bit of pieces. That doesn't make sense. What's the point of partnering up with them? And we're putting more money and they're getting more services. So when we partner up with these people, we want to make sure we all get equal amount in anything that we do. We want to keep Eastpointe number one in anything that we do.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. We are out of time as far as questions go, so we will go to the 2-minute closing statements, and we will start in reverse order of the opening statements. Ms. Gladney, 2-minute closing statement, please.
I'm going to say good evening again to you all. I would like for each and every resident to keep in mind of what the city really faces right now. Every single thing that we face could be a hindrance to us all. So I would like everybody to just keep in mind what the city is actually going through for the ones that you see. I wish this place was packed like it was for the neighborhood watch, because we had every resident in here. Every resident, we had like 200 people in here. And the reason why I bring this up is because it's very important. Your block might not have been affected by the increase of crime, but if we do not get a hold of what's going on here in this city, it could be coming in your neck of the woods. So please keep in mind that I have a concern and passion for this city. I'm involved in this city. I sit on a couple of boards in this city, and I do a lot of things within this city. Some know, some don't. Keep in mind, Ms. Gladney, as you go to the polls, as well as you receive your absentee ballot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Gladney. Mr. Kleinfeld, 2 minutes.
Thank you. Once again, thank you to everyone for putting this on and to everyone who came out tonight. Just to hit on a couple of points I didn't get to touch on earlier in regards to transparency. I have been a council member who has fought to not go into closed session in situations where, one, I thought it was illegal, or sometimes when I just thought it wasn't necessary. The closed session is a tool for us to use when it helps us protect the community and our interests. When it's not doing that, there's no need to do it just for the sake of having a conversation behind closed doors. In terms of the role of mayor who chairs the meeting, I think it's very important to be respectful, maintain decorum, and really keep an orderly meeting where everyone is heard so that when we do vote, we all feel respected and like we were allowed to advocate for our positions. I want to focus on things that keep our community clean and safe, because I think those are the building blocks that attract new businesses, that attract community groups that want to get involved. And a big part of safety, like I had mentioned earlier, is focusing on the culture in our community. And a big part of cleanliness, to be honest. It doesn't cost anything to keep our city clean. And I'm seeing more people come out concerned about what our city looks like, concerned about what our public safety is, and I think we need to capture that momentum because it takes all of us to band together to make those things happen. And once again, I appreciate you all for being here, and I would really appreciate it if you would consider me for mayor this November. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Kleinfeld. Mr. Preach, 2-minute closing statement, please.
Thank you. I would like to really thank every person that's sitting up here at this table right now, because we have interest in this city. And this is exactly, as I say, after 55 years being a resident here and going to the aspect of watching my kids and watching the whole city go up, go down. I don't want to see the city go down anymore. Believe me, people, it's time for this city at least to maintain status quo. We have business people that want to come here. I want to bring business here. I want to bring our kids back to our parks. I want to bring the upkeep back to here. Excuse me for saying this, I don't want any more winners. I think we're looking at 50% right now. I might be wrong, but I don't want any more. I would love to be able to see, we have some great renters. We have some good people that are doing a great job. But it would be nice, the renters that I have met, I would love them if they would buy their house. They keep their houses up. But we have some slumlords, many of them. And I request this right now. Everybody in here has probably got these people on their block. look at their houses. Now tell me, do you want your city to look like this? I don't want mine to look like this. And I said, there's some great people up here right now that are going for the right idea. And I told my wife, she said, don't run. You know, I said, you know something, I got to the point to where I want to try to save this city and get it back together. In diversity, I want to see that come too. I just want to see the city grow and get better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creech. Mr. DeMonico, 2 minutes, please.
Hello everyone, thank you again for coming out to this, and I am proud to be a long-term resident and homeowner in the city, and I'd like to, as I've said, get everyone involved in the community as much as possible. Now, thank you again to the League of Women Voters, Macomb County, and Eastpointe Roseville Chamber of Commerce, and the Eastpointe Community Schools for putting this event on. A lot of you in the audience I have seen recently because I've been doing a lot of door-to-door, trying to get as much information as possible from all of you so that I can make the best decisions for the city. There's just 5 of us up here that vote at City Council, and I want to work as hard as I can to make sure that we're making that right vote. I talked about the water bill earlier, and I forgot to say that I had voted against our budget actually 3 times in a row now, just simply because of the water bill. 3 years ago, it was proposed by our city administration to increase it by 35%. I don't need to tell all of you twice that your water bill went way up just 2 years ago. And I've been working, like I said things earlier, to get that fixed and see what we can do going forward. Now, you know, Eastpointe, you know, will go far if we just get together, do things in the community, make sure you vote, come out to different events. Look forward to it. Again, I'm very proud to be an Eastpointe resident and proud to be a resident with all of you. And make sure on November 5th or sooner, if you vote absentee, to vote for us and make sure you learn about race choice before voting for your city council candidates. I think that is everything. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Mr. DeMonico. And Ms. Owens, please, your closing statement.
Thank you. I want to thank everybody that came out and took the time out to hear what we had to say. I want to start with a lot of concerns that people were talking about. Mr. Creech talked about we have 60% home ownership. So the 40% is what are we going to do to help them? I don't want to be a mayor that complains about what we don't have in our city, but a mayor that goes for what we need. And so helping renters who are in our audience, who do keep up with their property, I want to help them be homeowners. We get all these tax conversion houses and we give it to investors that live in California that become slumlords. And so I want to give first rights to Eastpointe residents, first rights to people that work in our community as far as on the school board, the police officers that get a low pay raise. I want to fight for you all. I want to fight for the seniors. That's what I am here for. As your mayor, I'm fighting because I have a heart for the city. And I want you to ask yourself, everybody in here, how do you want your mayor to look? Do you want your mayor to be proactive about new laws? Do you want your mayor to partner up with different cities, organizations, not just in Michigan, but all over the country? Do you want your mayor to work with legislators and Lansing to make sure they're doing their part to give money to our city? If you want this and you want your mayor to look like that, you're looking at it right now. Vote November 5th for Monique Owens. Together, we can move forward. Get the mayor with the right heart.
Thank you, Ms. Owens. I wish to thank the candidates, forum officials, and all our fellow citizens for participating in this Eastpointe City Council and Mayoral Candidate Forum. I also wish to thank our timekeeper, question gatherers, question sorters, and greeters. A special thanks to Kathy Porter from the League of Women Voters, Macomb County, our forum coordinator, Linda Weishaupt, Director of Eastpointe Roseville Chamber of Commerce, and Jody Burton of Eastpointe Schools, all responsible for the huge task of coordinating this forum, and to the film crew, the students of this high school. Our electronic voter guide covering this race and other Macomb County races is available on vote411.org. That's vote411.org. And there's a link on our website, the League of Women Voters, Macomb County. Election day is Tuesday, November 5th, 2019. Polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can verify your voting registration status by either calling your city clerk or going to the Secretary of State website. Thank you, everyone, and good evening.